Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive on something I think we can all relate to, getting better results, especially when it comes to your career.
Yeah, always a relevant topic.
Right. And we found this really cool article on developing a results-oriented mindset. Have you had a chance to look it over?
I have, yeah. It's pretty concise, but it packs a punch, that's for sure. Lots of good stuff in there.
It really does. And that's kind of what I wanted to pick your brain about. It's got all these tips, which are great on paper, but how do we actually put them into practice, in the real world? That's what I'm curious about.
Absolutely. I think sometimes the simplest advice, if you know how to apply it, can be the most impactful. So happy to break it down.
Perfect. So, the very first tip that it talks about is setting specific goals, and it really stresses clear and measurable objectives. Now, I get that, that makes sense. But for someone who's used to just kind of having a general idea of what they want, why is that shift so crucial?
Well, think of it this way. Like a vague goal is kind of like setting off on a road trip without a destination in mind.
Oh, I like that.
You might, enjoy the scenery, you might wander around, but you're probably going to end up somewhere you didn't intend to be.
Right.
Whereas a specific goal, that's like having your GPS guiding you. You know exactly where you're headed and how to get there, and it just helps you stay focused and motivated.
Okay. Yeah, I can already see, like, picturing that road trip. I get it. But okay, let's say we've got our GPS set, we're feeling good, and then life happens.
Happens to the best of us.
Exactly. And that's where the article's next tip comes in, which is track your progress. But, it's so easy to set those goals and then kind of just completely forget about them. So, any practical tips for how to actually stay on track?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, the best method really depends on your personal style. So, like, if you're a visual person, then a chart or a progress bar, like, actually seeing that visual representation could be really motivating.
I like that.
You could even get creative with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, use a map if we're sticking with that road trip analogy and, mark your milestones as you go. But if you're more of an organized list-making type of person, then a detailed checklist or maybe even a project management tool, something like Asana or Trello might be more your speed.
Those are great ideas.
And don't underestimate the power of just a simple notebook, to just jot down your wins, your challenges, the things that you're learning along the way.
I love that. It's like choosing the right, travel companion for that journey, whatever works for you.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, this next one is something that I know a lot of people, myself included, I think, can find a bit daunting. Stay accountable. Does that mean like I need someone constantly looking over my shoulder?
No, no, not at all. It's not about like punishment or anything.
Okay.
Accountability is more about support. So think of it like having a co-pilot on that road trip, you know,
Mm,
someone to help you navigate, offer encouragement, maybe even share the driving when you get tired.
I like that.
And that could be an accountability partner, it could be a mentor, or even just like a friend who you trust who checks in on your progress.
That's a much better way to look at it. It's
Oh,
more about shared responsibility and, having someone to celebrate those wins with too.
for sure.
Okay, this next one is something I personally struggle with. Prioritize effectively. So the article emphasizes high impact tasks. But honestly, when you're juggling multiple projects, like everything feels important, how do you even figure out what truly deserves your attention?
Oh, yeah. That is a really common challenge. And there's, a couple of frameworks that can be really helpful. One that I really like is the Eisenhower matrix. Are you familiar with that one?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's really powerful.
Sure.
Basically, it helps you categorize tasks based on urgency and importance.
Oh, okay.
So imagine like a square divided into four quadrants.
Yeah.
The top left is for tasks that are both urgent and important. So like those are your do it now items. Then you've got the bottom left, which is for things that are important but not urgent. So those are like more your strategic tasks that you can like schedule for later.
Okay.
Then you've got the top right, which is urgent but not important tasks.
Right.
Those are often like distractions that you can delegate if possible. And then finally, you've got the bottom right, which is for tasks that are neither urgent nor important. Those are your time wasters that you can try to eliminate altogether.
Okay, that's brilliant. I can actually see myself using that. It's like having a filter for all of the noise.
Exactly. Exactly. Helps you focus on what matters.
Okay, and finally, we come to my favorite tip. Celebrate milestones.
Yes. So important and often overlooked.
I know.
Think about it. When you're on that road trip, you're not just driving straight to your destination without stopping, right? You're taking breaks, enjoying the scenery, maybe even have a little celebration when you reach a certain point. And it's the same with your goals. Celebrating those small wins, it keeps you motivated, keeps you energized for the long haul.
It's like rewarding yourself with a delicious meal or like a scenic detour along the
Yeah,
way.
exactly. Exactly. You got to enjoy the journey.
All right, so just to recap, we've got set specific goals, track your progress, stay accountable, prioritize effectively, and celebrate milestones. I mean, these 5 tips work together beautifully. Like it creates an actual roadmap, I think, for success.
They really do. Yeah, they all kind of play off of each other. And so to really put these tips into action, like what's one small step that you can take today, like even something that takes 5 minutes to implement one of these tips?
Ooh, that is a great question to end on. I think I'm going to go make that Eisenhower matrix right now.
There you go. I love it.
All right, well, that was fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see everyone next time.
Thanks for having me.